Good evening. Welcome to this beautiful session on a Saturday evening on 23rd of March 2024 from the Nilgiri Hills in Coonoor, state of Tamil Nadu, India. And we've all come together for the next 8 days to be part of a retreat. And we're come together physically, some of us, and all of you, I'm sure, are going to be energetically part of what's going to happen. So, just before the session started, we were having a discussion here, and I was asked a question, and this question was that I know that my goal of life is to redeem myself, to become one with that divine consciousness that is pervading everywhere. I know it to be my goal. And however, there are some things that I'm just not able to do. Now, what holds me back? Why am I not able to experience what others are experiencing? Is a question that came today. And I think that's a question which is not just a particular person's question. I think it's a question of all of us present here. Because that's the only question that is there to be answered. Otherwise, we wouldn't be together in a group, meeting every Saturday, every weekend, and having had so many sessions together. The only reason why we come back is because we are all wanting to make that journey, and we are on the process, on the path of that journey, and each one has traveled a little bit distance. Some are in the beginning of the travel, some are in the mid of the travel, some are close to the travel, and some have understood and completed that travel. So that's why we come together again and again. And that question is a question which was my question some time back. That's your question today. And that, if we go back, has been the question of Arjuna, which he posed to Krishna. So from time immemorial, ever since man came in and got in touch with the energetic side of existence, man got to know that there was something else to life other than the travails and challenges of the physical life. And we got reminded that there is something else that is there, but we don't know what it is. And from that time onwards, man started to find the answer to these questions. And therefore, we've had various masters across religions who have come, who are trying to answer that, because this is the eternal quest of man, of finding that rhythm, that understanding, which eludes us. And so therefore, we've been trying to, through all our sessions, try to get an understanding of what this path is. What is it that we need to do? And when we start practicing it, when we start following it, it's only then that something starts changing inside us. So I remember many of you who've come and stayed also in the Gurukula, because the only way that our ancestors in the Sanatana Dharma practiced, understood that one way of learning, and a very effective way of learning, was to come and live with a master, a guru, or a teacher, and imbibe things by practicing them in the presence of the teacher. Because you see, there are many teachers in this world. And we have seen these teachers in our schools, in our universities, that come in and give a lecture and go back. But a lecture will be a 45 minutes lecture, a 1 hour lecture, or sometimes a 2 hour, 3 hour lecture, but that's it. What these teachers do in their private life is not known to us. And if we have to learn the secrets of life, if we have to learn what we do not know, then we need to be able to practice it by watching someone from close quarters, how the master lives one's life, because that inspires us, that motivates us to imbibe and how to put things into practice in our daily lives. Because it's one thing, you hear a lecture and you read a book, but how do you actually do it? So our ancient masters, our forefathers, our wise people created a concept of a Gurukula. And in the Gurukula, the Guru with his family would invite the students to come and stay with him, learn from the master, participate in the running of the Gurukulam, and slowly together they would grow and learn. Because a lot of the learnings happens by watching and by practicing in the presence of the teacher. And therefore these were like our modern day residential schools. There were no holidays and there were no leaves. The student came in, stayed for as long as it was required, and till the whole education was complete. And this is not a theoretical education, because in our present day schools it's all theoretical, but these were, you learn something and you are given time to practice it. And as you practice, the teacher is there to observe you, and the teacher is able to correct you, and you keep refining till you become one with that understanding. So that is what the whole idea of the Gurukula was. And that's why we do the prayer of Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu. That whole prayer is this, that come, let the student and the teacher come together and let them learn together as one consciousness, and let the teacher inspire the student to learn, and they should learn without any discord, and they grow together. Because in any case, every teacher also learns from the student a lot of understanding of how complex human minds are and how we operate and behave. The teacher gets to know from different people who come, and every student makes a teacher richer, because the teacher gets the experience, the anubhava, from every type of thought, because ultimately we are all victims and we are all getting caught in our thoughts, and each one brings a unique perspective, and that unique perspective also enriches the teacher. So it's not just a one-way learning, it's a two-way learning that happens in a Gurukula. But having understood the tendencies that a student carries, and those tendencies come from this lifetime as well as past lifetimes, the teacher is able to create a tailor-made or a very customized plan for each student. While the steps are the same, the path is the same, but depending upon individual tendencies, individual preferences, individual outlook, likes and dislikes, the teacher keeps creating a different path. Now, the challenge that Arjuna had with Krishna is the challenge that you have with your guru and your teacher and your master that you follow. And that is that challenge, if it is not resolved, keeps creating bottlenecks for us, as we go along in our sadhana. Now, what is that basic challenge? The basic challenge is that we do not have complete faith and trust in our teacher, in our master. And that is why, to convince Arjuna, Krishna had to take him step by step into all facets of knowledge of life. And if you look at Bhagavad Gita, he goes very methodically, chapter by chapter, step by step, takes the seeker in Arjuna through all facets of knowledge, through Bhakti Yoga, through Jnana Yoga, through Karma Yoga. And all knowledge, if you understand, is only for the mind. Because the mind is always wanting to ask why, right? And to silence the mind, we try to seek knowledge. That's why we are always full of questions, because we are operating all from the mind. So, to a seeker like Arjuna, Krishna had to also give him all the facets of life, knowledge, and convince him that he was the most knowledgeable teacher. What he was trying to do? He was trying to satisfy the ego of Arjuna by giving him the knowledge. And secondly, he was trying to convince Arjuna that Krishna was a qualified teacher. Right? So that there could be a bond that could be established between the teacher and the disciple. Because if this bond is not there, then most of the time we are arguing. We faced it, we all experienced it, and we've experienced it in our relationship as well, that, there is this resistance that comes from within, where we start to reject, because the relationship is like yes, no, maybe. The conviction is not fully there. Our mind keeps creating doubts. Our mind keeps creating challenges and thoughts. And, we listen one day, and the next moment we stop listening, because it does not suit our mind. It does not suit our own preferences. And so, therefore, it's easy to find a fault with the teacher. No, he doesn't understand this. I agree with everything that, he says, but, there are some things that I don't agree with. Okay? So, we start arguing and finding faults. So, therefore, Krishna understood that Arjuna, like every other seeker, has this challenge. That's why he was on a quandary in the battlefield in the Kurukshetra. And so he said, okay, let me try and prime him up with all the knowledge. And he goes on giving him, and and every time Arjuna thinks, oh my God, I never understood this, and I had never thought of this. This also happens. And he starts getting convinced about that Krishna is not just a cousin, a relative, a wise man, my charioteer, but a person who holds this reservoir of knowledge and wisdom. And then, to convince himself, somewhere he asks that if he could show him his Viraat Rupa, his cosmic form. And Krishna agrees only because he wants to convince him. He wants finally to give him what he has come to give. And actually, when he sees his cosmic form, he actually gets scared, because till now he was a friend, till he was a relative. And suddenly, when he saw his cosmic form, and he gets scared that, Krishna is that all-powerful being. which Krishna never wanted to reveal it, which no master wants to reveal that. And therefore, masters, Sai Baba came in our lives, lived like an ordinary master, and pretended not to be who he truly was, and came down to our levels and operated at our level, so that we could receive from him. So sometimes when the teacher becomes too unapproachable, it's very difficult to learn from there. The teacher has to be approachable, the teacher has to be friendly, the teacher has to be loving. So, in the end, when so much knowledge came into to Arjuna, and he was overwhelmed with this understanding, and chapter upon chapter, the knowledge, layers of knowledge were revealed, he became overwhelmed and he said, Krishna, do I have to do all this? Do I have to, it's going to take me lifetimes to, practice all this. And that was the moment that Krishna was waiting for. And that is when he said, if you are ready to listen to me, then I have an advice that can change your life forever. By that time, Arjuna was convinced that Krishna was God. Krishna was not an ordinary being, was not an ordinary teacher, and he said, yes, I am ready now. And that's the moment when a Hanumana says that he is ready, eager and willing. Ram kaaj kari beko atur. That willingness is so important to now take what the teacher has come to give. Most of our life is in resistance of not accepting what is being given to us, because for some strange reason, best known to the mind, we just keep fighting because we don't like it. But once we get convinced that this is our teacher and this is our master who holds the key to our liberation, if we get to that moment, then I tell you, not only it became very easy for Arjuna, it will become easy for all of us. Because the quandary of Arjuna is the quandary of all of us. And that moment when it arrives, when that relationship gets established of a guru and a disciple, of faith and trust in that teacher, which is when the teacher gives the final advice of saying, please, whatever I have told you, keep that aside and just surrender to me. Krishna says, surrender to me and I shall take care of everything. And everything will be taken care of. Surrender. And remember, surrendering is the most difficult thing, because surrendering means you're surrendering not your physical self, you're surrendering your mind. You're surrendering your ego, you're surrendering your intelligence, you're surrendering your sense of accomplishment, your ego, your all that you have, image that you have created of yourself. You have to let go of that. The ego of a mother, the ego of a father, the ego of a successful professional, the ego of a businessman, the ego of whatever. We just have layers and layers and layers of ego. I know everything. So when we say surrender is not just falling at the feet of the master. That is very easy to do. Everybody does it. But very few mean it. And you can see it, the ones who surrender to the master with all their heart and soul, they are the ones who get everything. The phala, the grace of the master, the knowledge and the wisdom of the master is available for everybody. But we are not picking it up. The master does not select. The master does not have favorites. But who's the favorite? Favorite is the one who goes and picks it up. Because that is the only one who is ready to receive. So, this giving and receiving is a two-way process. The teacher is always ready to give, because that's why he or she has become a teacher. His job is only to give and give and give and give all the time. But we are not ready to receive all the time. We have conditionalities. If it is pleasant to us, we take it. If it is uncomfortable, we use the word, we hate it. So, and the master laughs because the master has given heart and soul, and the disciple says, I actually hated this process. And then you say, okay, when you are ready, that one day when you will understand that because if you really need something, then sometimes a bitter pill is also okay. A lot of the medicines that we take when we are terminally ill are not very pleasant to consume. So the bitter pill, that's where it came from. But we are ready to take a bitter pill because we believe that the doctor knows the best, and therefore we are willing to take the bitter pill. But we don't believe that the Guru can give us a bitter pill. How dare he? So that's the challenge. So once this challenge was overcome by Krishna showing to Arjuna that he had that knowledge and wisdom, and giving him so much of gyan, so much of knowledge that he was confused now. And he showed him his ferocious form of the cosmic form, and he got scared with it. And he said, no, I don't want to see this anymore. Please become normal to me again, so that I can relate to you at least. And now tell me, what do I need to do? See, now, only at the beginning, at the 18th chapter, Arjuna is ready to take. So, and that happens with all of you also. I've seen, with a lot of you, I've interacted a lot of times. Most of the time, you're not ready to receive. You want it, you keep telling me, I want it. But, when I tell you things, you don't really want it. And so the Guru waits for the right moment to arrive when the disciple is actually ready, not just by saying it, but, the Guru is like a hawk, sees everything, understands everything, pretends to go along, plays a fool, but understands what's going on. And he says, okay, if the time is right, it will happen. If it doesn't happen, it will happen whenever it is right. It's okay. Don't get attached to the results of seeing a transformation in the student. And then, when that moment comes, when the seeker is really ready, is when the final wisdom is revealed of surrender. How easy it is. But can you imagine, had Krishna told Arjuna to surrender in chapter 1, first of all, Bhagavad Gita would have been very easy to read and understand, because there would have been only one chapter. But would we have surrendered? We wouldn't have, because we wouldn't have been convinced. We would say, what a fool this teacher is. Because surrender requires no mind. And the mind is represented by Arjuna, and the heart is represented by Krishna. The mind is not ready to listen to the heart because the mind says, I know it all. And Krishna, the heart, has to convince repeatedly to Arjuna that I know better than you. So the heart has to keep proving to the mind that, listen, Bhaga, if you I understand you're very smart, just hold on. Be patient. Understand what I'm trying to say. And once you're convinced, it'll be easy for the mind to step back, let go of all the stakes that we are carrying, based on the false illusion, false understanding of ourselves as this body, this mind, this name. And once we reach that point, then we are able to quickly, we are like a small newborn baby which sucks on the breast of the mother. And you don't have to teach a child how to suck milk from the mother's breast. It happens naturally, spontaneously, effortlessly. And that is when the disciple is ready to receive the nectar of wisdom from the master. Because all pretenses are gone, all illusions are gone. And that is when the final words of Bhagavad Gita are uttered by Arjuna, where he says, Karishe Vachanam Tava. Master, I am ready to follow all that you have to tell me. I'm ready to follow you. And then life becomes so easy and simple. I wish we had done it in the first instance. And so therefore, for every master, the best students are those who are actually able to do this so simply. There are some who effortlessly do it. And their life starts to transform. And in front of us, that transformation takes place. And then there are those who keep saying, but I don't know. I'm not experiencing anything. I don't know, how this happens. But, and intellectually, we keep finding answers and this. The only reason that we are not following is because we are not doing it. And there is nothing at stake actually. It's so simple. All we had to do, did we ask these questions when we were learning how to walk and we held on to the hand of the mother and the mother took us through the steps? Did we ask our father when he was, teaching us how to, ride his bicycle? We trusted the father, we trusted the mother. And then when we went to school and we went to university, did we ask our science teacher, how do you say that Newton's 3 laws are correct? How is it that the Pythagoras theorem is okay? Did we ask anybody this? No, I don't believe you. But we trusted them, no? Because that's what was in the book. And there was a teacher telling us, and we trusted them. So finding the right guru is the first step. Trusting the guru is the most important step, because that opens the path for your transformation. But if we keep holding on to this idea that I know everything, we have read books, we have visited hundreds of YouTube sites and we have listened to thousands of lectures. We're all full of academic nonsense in our head because we don't practice any of it. And those who practice start to shift. And I have experienced so many coming here and saying, I don't experience anything. And after some time, beginning to vibrate with this energy that comes, beginning to transform. And then that transformation is visible to everybody. Because they chose to learn and they chose to let go of all that they were holding on to. And that's why we've said that this path is of letting go. Because before you can surrender, you'll have to let go. And many times I've been told, as I walked on this path, when I left my corporate job, when I left my consultancies, when I chose this path, everybody used to tell me, you're very courageous. How can you take these decisions? You're very courageous. You're very scared. To my mind, it is not a question of courage. It's a question of clarity. There are two types of Vidya that Vedanta talks about. One is called Avidya and the other is Vidya. Avidya is ignorance, not knowing. Vidya is the knowledge, and there is another type of a Vidya which liberates us. Sa Vidya ya Vimuktaye. Our Upanishads say that the knowledge is not what you fill your head with. Knowledge is actually that knowledge which liberates. Everything else is useless information which we just cram in our heads. So, identifying that, identifying the teacher, and trusting the teacher, and then following the path the teacher sets for us without judgment, criticism, and without, calling the teacher names and throwing stones. When we follow, we start changing, we start shifting, we start experiencing something happening deep inside us. And the reason why we hold these retreats and we come together is for making this transformation take place, because we live together for a period of 7 to 8 days and things start happening. That's why we come together. So that sets the basis of what we are going to be doing over the next 7 days. All of you who are present here physically, all those who are energetically here, if you so wish to gain from what is going to happen here, you may not be able to connect physically on a Zoom call, but if you connect energetically and if you are willing to receive, then this will be received by everybody, those who are ready and who are open. Because it's, as I said, the master already has put the key in the lock, but only you have to open it, and that is your willingness and your intense desire. Today we had a chocolate called Intense Orange, and we were enjoying it. And that time I was thinking that where is an intense seeker of knowledge? We are intense seekers of chocolates. We all want good things in life, but nobody wants to realize themselves and have that intense seeking. One day the taste will come, instead of chocolate, of having that which will liberate us. That day, I tell you, your teacher will be ready, whoever that teacher is. The teachers wait for that moment because they are ready with the light. We should be ready to open the window of our mind and let the light in. Never put the blame onto circumstances, situations, or other people to what is happening in your life. We and we alone hold the key of our liberation, and we have to unlock everything that we have locked and nicely put it on somebody else. Those who do, the wise ones, open it and they take everything inside them. They liberate, they transform. So to all who are here today physically, and to those of you who are present on the call, I say happy tidings, beautiful moments. For it's a very powerful moment, and Monday we will also have another call with all of you, because it's full moon and it's a lunar eclipse, and so much is happening in this world. I'll keep revealing as we go along. This moment when this retreat has been chosen has been a very powerful moment in the history of this planet, and Some chose to come, some chose not to come. It's all destined by consciousness. So with that, thank you so much. Bless you all. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.